you all. So I'm excited that Jeremy and hopefully Kylie, I know she's not feeling well, are going to join us. So Jeremy is a senior consultant at JSI, so John Snow. And over the last 18 years, I know he's worked on a variety of different projects and really looking at kind of funding, health equity, social determinants of health. And Jeremy is providing support to the Catalyst sites around the issue of sustainability. And so, you know, we've been talking about what kind of learnings.
Hi, can you do me a favor? Are you at your computer?
Gina, can you put yourself on mute?
No, you know what? Marissa just sent it to me. I'm okay. Oh. I needed to get something off the Z drive, and
Gina?
I thought they were at lunch, but she just sent it. So thank you.
Gina, can you put yourself on mute?
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Wait, she's not hearing me. Sorry. Gina, can you put yourself on mute? Great. So he's going to be sharing some of the learnings and the information that he's working with those Catalyst sites. And we really want this to be an interactive. So this is a time for you to be asking lots of questions and, you know, really engage in dialogue. And I ask that you put yourselves on mute while he's talking so that we can make sure we're not disturbed by other noises. So, okay, with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Jeremy.
Great. Thanks so much, Sue. And let's see, I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see if this works. Nope, that's not it. Let's go to...
You just gotta find the document.
There we go. That should be the right document. Okay. Great. So glad to have this chance to talk with all of you. I know a number of folks on the phone. And as Sue mentioned, I really hope that this will be a mix of me sharing some of what we've been doing and learning from our engagement with the Catalyst sites, as well as really interactive conversation. We're thinking about and working on both you know, extrapolating from convening in Pasadena and otherwise knowing your work, but yeah, I definitely want it sort of as relevant as possible to what you're wrestling with. So just by way of very brief, JSI is a research and consulting group with
Jeremy, for some reason, the sound is really muddled. I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody else is hearing that too, or maybe it's just me.
No, I hear it too.
Yeah, okay. This is Larry. I hear it muddled too. It's kind of fading in and out.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Huh. All right. Yeah, I was hearing it a little bit when you were talking also.
Okay.
Trying to figure out if maybe the mic on the computer is on.
Yours? Yeah.
See that. Huh. All right, let's see if that is better. Is that
we'll try it. Okay.
Okay. If not, I can try and call back in on one of the other numbers too.
Okay. Great. Okay.
All right. So this is an overview. The only other thing I'll say is that I've been working on this idea of an accountable community for health in California for now going on probably 7 years or so. Initially, it was part of a submission the state made to the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Innovation, and then that sort of morphed into this funder-driven initiative. the idea of kind of building sustainability in from the beginning has been one of the things that I and we at JSI have been sort of pushing for. So we're really glad that we had the opportunity to work with the Catalyst sites and now to some extent with all of you as well. Is the sound still bad?
It's a little better, but it's not great. So I don't know. What about everybody else?
My words exactly, Sue. A little better, but not great.
Yeah.
A little better, but not great. That's still not, yeah, that's not great. I figure out if there's any other controls here to mess with.
Sometimes, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's good now. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes,
Maybe
yeah,
if I just
sometimes
don't, maybe I just won't move my head. I'll keep it just like that. So in the interest of dialogue, actually, I'd love to start with a question to all of you. So, as I'm talking, I think it'd be great if folks can just chat in anything that comes up. And as a practice of doing that, it'd be great if everyone chat box to answer this question. What's one question related to sustainability that leadership is wrestling with? So I can use this a little to tailor my remarks, and then we can come back to these questions at the end as well. So let's take just 90 seconds to do this. Okay, I see some of these coming in, so a couple more seconds. Okay, cool, great, and definitely keep, and we'll revisit that list at the end. So I want to do a couple of things here. One is, first is just to sort of give you an overview of what we've been doing with the Catalyst sites, and then to dive in a little bit deeper on a couple of the areas of more intensive work and inquiry and some of the activities we've been doing, since I think some of those may be relevant and replicable for all of you. So in approaching sustainability, we've held on to this set of principles essentially that that sustainability isn't just financing; it's really about initiative design, right? Leadership, communications, data collection, all of these components come together along with an investment strategy to set initiatives up for sustainability. That there's no cookie cutter approach that's going to work in every site. It's going to need to be flexible and tailored. That there is a challenge that's sort of built into CACHI to and long-term prevention goals, and to do that in the context of sustainability time frame. Same time as a whole set of other formation challenges. I noticed somebody wrote in a question about distributed issue that's happening in the reform stage. And so there's going to be an interaction between thinking about sustainability and thinking about formation, and portfolio of strategies, et cetera. And lastly, that there needs to be a multifaceted perspective on value that solely in terms of financial value, but that in many cases there are going to be a range of potential partners, contributors, investors, and some of them are going to be interested in financial outcomes, and others are likely going to be interested in other sorts of benefits. And so that we need to create a process for thinking through a multifaceted perspective. We've thought of it in terms of graphics from some research. Yeah.
Sorry, if the sound is still not good, I'm wondering if I can either put it in the chat box or you have in the invite the phone number. Like if you put yourself on mute or like you join yourself kind of as not with the computer audio, because I'm sure you're doing the computer audio, then it might be better. I'm just getting notes from people that they're missing half of the sentences. So
okay.
You want to try that?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm actually on the phone. I can try and
you
call
are?
in.
Okay.
I am. I'm wondering if anybody talking also. I'm wondering if anybody else is not muted.
You know, sometimes if people are, you know, not on mute when you're on, then it does make kind of a, so you're on the computer, or you're on the phone. Yeah.
Yeah, I will try and call back in. That's obviously.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'm on the phone and I'm not having trouble hearing them.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I was wondering if it's the people on the computer who are listening through their computer.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know, because I'm listening through the computer.
Hi, this is Patty. I'm on the phone as well, and I'm having a lot of trouble with the sound also.
Okay. So you're on the phone.
All right.
Yes.
So you want to
I'm gonna dial back in. I'll be right back, and we'll see what that does. And anybody else who's not on mute your lines, and we'll see how that works.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
How's that?
So far, so good. I don't know about everybody else.
Okay. All right. Well, I will talk for one slide and then check in again.
Okay.
I hear a little bit of buzzing, kind of almost like a air conditioner or something, but
I hear it too.
But
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I don't think I'll go back to the principles since those folks can read, but I will say about these two images. So the first is an image we created based on some research we did before the ACH launched about how initiatives like this generally develop. And what we identified was that there's these sort of developmental stages from formation to implementation and reinvestment, and that there are 4 key aspects that get built over that time. So leadership, collaboration, measurement, and investment. And I think it's all of you are probably in either the formation or maybe somewhere in implementation. And so the key takeaway is that these 4 things need to be attended to over the course of the development of an initiative. The report we put together has some specific recommendations for how to do that. The second thing is this. I really like this idea of the hype cycle. I find it sort of comforting that with any kind of new and innovative effort, there's this inevitable sort of course of peaks and valleys, excitement, visibility at the beginning that crests with some sense of inflated expectations, and then as the work begins and the challenges start and the nitty gritty begins, there's a sort of quick descent into a trough of disillusionment. And then there's a process of working through that to getting to a sort of plateau of productivity, as it's called here. But I think this is sort of a natural process, and hopefully is somewhat reassuring for all of you that you may see yourselves at some point on this curve, and that you do come back to these plateaus. How's the sound? Better?
It's better for you, but there's still it sounds like an air conditioner or something weird, but I'm living with it. It's better for you. Yeah, I mean, just in terms of your voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, okay. Well, we can all imagine we're like on vacation somewhere warm and the air conditioner is going as I'm talking. This is a timeline of our process with the Catalyst sites. I'll go into some more detail about some of these elements, but basically we're kind of at the tail end of our year work with them that began with a process of looking at value propositions and specific funding sources, trying to hone in on what the benefits, the most critical benefits that were going to result from the Accountable Community for Health work were going to be. That moved into then developing a draft sustainability plan, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. Then once we had these sustainability plan elements, talking through funding model hypotheses and where each of the 6 sites thought they were likely to get funding at the end of this initial funded period. And now we're kind of in this refinement stage where we're looking at the sustainability plan and the hypotheses and refining them, and planning for 2018 and what sorts of activities and needs are going to be addressed in 2018. And then there's this sort of underlying question that we've been working on all year around health plans specifically, hospitals to some extent, but largely looking at health plans and the barriers and opportunities for engaging health plans as a catchy partner and funder. And I can talk a little bit more about that later too. So that's sort of the overview. As we're moving forward, we're seeing a set of key questions that relate to how to convey the value of what the sites are doing, what the funding strategies are that are likely to support transition from initial funding, relationships. What sorts of evidence and strategies do we need to put in place to bring key partners to the table? And then lastly, implementation and engagement. And we've had a number of conversations with the sites around this issue of how do you sort of bring a conversation about sustainability and resources to the table at the same time that you're trying to bring together partners to build a kind of collective effort that's based on trust and cooperation, et cetera. So that's kind of that's a quick snapshot of where we are in the process. Okay, I'm just checking any questions. So most of it's about the sound, so that's good.
But the air conditioner is gone. It's like,
yeah, the air conditioner is gone.
Darn, yeah. So
Yeah, gosh, it's so quiet. It
I
sounds so
know.
nice. It's just all of us. Okay. Great. So let's let's go into then some of the specific elements of what we've done with the site. So the first piece that I've already alluded to is really trying to clarify the value proposition for the catchy sites, and thinking in terms of these three elements. So defining the scope of the problem. So and I think implicit in that is the opportunity, but why is this an issue that really requires this level of engagement? Can we use data to define the issue and the impact that it's having on the community? And then second, define solution. So do we know what to do about it? What are our strategies to address the problem? And given that this is really such an innovative and new approach, some element of the solution is actually the process. That we're going to bring together the key stakeholders to develop the solution. We have some ideas, but we really want this to be driven by the stakeholders and participants. But we have a way of we have a clear path for how to do that. And then lastly, what are the potential benefits? Are we clear on, if we're successful, what the benefits will be and for whom, to make the case to potential investors? The second piece that we've been working on more recently is thinking about these funding hypotheses. So what's here is kind of a very bare bones representation of an accountable community for health. We've got backbone functions and the portfolio leading to a set of outcomes or benefits, and that this is happening in the context of a set of partners and contributors, and that there are a whole range of potential models for investment and partnership and funds that are flowing through this diagram. So I'm going to just walk through a couple of the examples that we've seen from talking both to catchy sites and to initiatives around the country. So one very simple model is that there's one contributor that puts enough money into the wellness fund to pay for all the backbone functions and all the interventions. This is a challenging model to affect, but there is one of the catchy sites that has a significant contribution from one funder that is supporting a lot of the activity. So that's a very simple model. Another is that there's sort of a split between a contributor or a couple of contributors who are supporting the backbone functions, and then other partners and contributors who are supporting the portfolio of interventions. You can imagine these contributors may look different. It may be that the backbone function support comes from philanthropy or other more flexible funding. Another model we've seen is one in which partners and contributors are supporting the portfolio of interventions or specific elements of the portfolio of interventions with some built-in mechanism by which some of that funding goes into the wellness fund. So for instance, if one of the interventions was the diabetes prevention program, there might be a contribution from an employer for each employee who participated with a kind of admin charge on top. So if it's $50 per employee who participates, the actual cost, it's $55, 50 goes to cover the portfolio and 5 goes into the wellness fund to kind of support the oversight and backbone function. So that's, those numbers are made up, but that sort of scenario where there's some value add acknowledged in the administration of the portfolio that gets built into the payment.